welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Today, I thought we would do a get ready with me, just using some old items. I mean, as a not brand new items from Chantecaille. So I wanted to reach back into the spring quads from last year. These are the hummingbird quads. And then just some other products that I have had and loved from Chantecaille for a long time. So let's go ahead and jump in. So these two quads came out last spring, 2020, and these are the hummingbird quads. They are limited edition. I think you can still find them in certain places. This is the cool tone quad versus the warm tone, and I really like to mix these. So out of these, you can kind of see which ones are my favorites. This light pink, this taupey shade here, and this slate shade here. Those are my favorites. Also, this is a really nice duochrome shade. So I'm gonna kind of stick with those for today. Let's start with eyes. So I think we're gonna start off with, let's go in with the taupe, and we're gonna put this kind of like in the crease. I'm gonna take the Katie Jane Hughes number 11 brush into this. And this is not a round brush, but I'm going to keep the longer side going along the crease. So, and then when I'm done, just kind of flipping that over and very lightly kind of buffing that. You can see that this taupe is like, just has a beautiful sheen to it. Then I think we're going to use the same brush. I'm going to use the side of this in the deep purple here. Just going to put this on the outer corner here. I really love these two eye quartets that they came out with. I think that the Hummingbird collection was fantastic. One of my favorite ever. And then let's go in with the slate. And again, I'm using the same brush, but I wiped it off. Just kind of patting that. Look at that sheen. And I'm going over the purple, so I just have a little depth. You can see a hint of the purple there under the slate shade, which you can see has some sheerness to it. Now the slate shade, you can see it's actually, oh there, yep, there is some fallout there. I knew I felt something. When this was fresher, I didn't really have so much of an issue, but as this has aged, this shade in particular, you know, like the glitter in there has gotten a little bit looser. And I'm just gonna use my finger in this duochrome, and I'm just gonna kind of tap this right here in the center. Just add a little bit more there. Such a beautiful sheen. And then for the inner corner, going into the light pink, this is the KJH number 18 brush. Okay, and I'm not gonna do anything under the eyes until we do the rest of my makeup. So I'm gonna leave it there for now, and I'm gonna move you back a little bit. So I thought we would go ahead and play with the Chantecaille cushion. Now, I think the formula of this is a fantastic foundation. It has a beautiful finish, performs really well. I just think that it's very expensive for what you get, and the fact that they're not selling refills individually is disappointing. So I'm really hoping that they change their minds on that and broaden the shade selection at some point, because I do not have a perfect match. The Alabaster is a little bit too yellow, and I have Aura, which is a little bit too light. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use this today because I'm ready to start my second cushion on here. So when you purchase this, it does come with the container and 2 refills. So, or rather 2 cushions total. So you have the original one, and then a refill. So we're gonna open this and put this in and see how it goes. So But real quickly, let me just show you the compact. So I did clean mine out. I used some alcohol and just made sure everything was clean. And this comes off, and here we go. All right, so this is what is in the refill packet. So you get a nice new clean sponge. You have a whole new plastic casing and everything, which, you know, I guess I didn't even have to clean that out. And then here is the foil. So let's take that off. And here's the new cushion. So this actually just pops right out. And this is ready for recycling, I guess. And then I can just pop this one in. And, oh, I went the wrong way. Silly. So this hinge obviously should be going on this part here. So there we go. It just snaps right in and everything's good to go. So before I go in with the cushion, as you can see, my face has been breaking out a little bit. I'm taking the Real Skin Plus stick, and this is shade 0W. I'm just gonna kind of dab this on over here and cover that up a little bit. And I'm going to use this for under eye concealer today also. Just add a little bit here. You know how you can add a little bit for like lifting and brightening? This isn't really the best shade for it because this one's just, it's not really a brightening shade per se, but might as well just see if it gives any little extra lift after all. So there's that, and let's go in with the cushion. Now, one of the things that I find really nice about the formula of this cushion is that when you put it on right away, it, you know, it's one of those ones that has to settle into your skin a little bit, and then it looks really good. So when I put it on, I can kind of see it. And then after a few minutes, it kind of like melds with my skin, and then it has like this amazing finish. Again, my issue is just that this shade is not the perfect match, but it is a really nice formula. So for putting this on, if you want more coverage, you can definitely use this sponge. I do like using the sponge. I'm going to start off with a brush though. So this is the Koyodo F04. I'm just going to kind of dab some of this on. You can see it definitely, I mean, new cushion picked up a ton of product here. Right, and this one here has like a little bit of a scab, so you can see that the foundation hasn't, you know, kind of sat super well on that. So I'm gonna get actually a brush to apply it directly there. I'm gonna take the KJH21 brush, and I'm just gonna get some of the foundation on the brush and just kind of go over that. It's not going super well. Let's go back to the Real Skin for that spot. So I'm not gonna wipe off the brush. I'm just gonna get a little bit of the Real Skin pigment on here. Just kind of put that on top. And whenever I'm trying to cover a blemish, I always like to go kind of like in this like swirly motion to make sure that I'm really getting everything there. Because otherwise, you know, like, especially if you have something raised, you know, maybe you're just getting like the surface and you're not getting all the sides. All right, so this spot here, you know, not really doing so well. I'm just gonna kind of stamp it out with this brush. Well, that took everything off. All right, well, you know what? We'll deal with that later. Let's move on. Okay, so now that I have done the foundation under the eyes, I'm gonna go in to this taupe shade here and use this on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna take the KJH number 15 for this. Okay, and then I wipe this off. I'm just gonna go into the light pink next to it and just drag a little bit of this from the inner corner over. And I'm gonna use this same shade, just a touch under the brows. And for the upper lash line, I'm taking the Chantecaille Luster Glide eyeliner in, this is Violet Damask, which is one of my favorites. So this shade here. I'm just gonna smudge this along the upper lash line. Just gonna do a little bit of tight lining there. Barely touching though. My eyes are really sensitive. It's not something I do very often. So I'm just gonna take that 15 brush that I used on the lower lash line and just kind of soften the edges there. All right, so that is it for the eyes. I'm gonna do the mascara. I'm just gonna use the Chantecaille Longest Lash Mascara. And then I also have their brow gel. So let's start with lashes. I'm gonna first curl them with my Surratt Lash Curler. And I always like to comb through my lashes with the Tweezerman eyelash comb. All right, and for blush today, I am using the Chantecaille Cheek Gelée in Vibrant. And this is a liquid squeeze tube. You don't need that much. Usually I go in with this with my fingers, but today I wanted to try using one of the brushes from Katie Jane Hughes. So I'm just gonna kind of spread this out on my hand because I don't wanna have a huge puddle. And I'm gonna use the Spectrum 03 brush. You can see that this one has more of a stippling effect here. So you've got the longer bristles, but it's still very loose and fluffy. So I'm just gonna kind of get some of this on here. I think this is gonna be too much still. So I'm barely touching. Let me actually wipe some of this off so I'm not so nervous. Hair keeps getting in the way. I even pinned it back and it's still getting in the way. All right, so there is Vibrant. You can see how scary it looks on the hand, but when it goes on, it really blends out super, super well. And I think, you know, actually, instead of doing a true highlight, let's see, I have an idea. We're gonna use another one of these cheek gelées. This is the shade Happy, and it's actually a blush, but you can see that it's got this like pearly look and it's very light. So when you spread this one out, you can see how light it is. So instead of doing a real highlight, I think let's just take a little bit of this. I'm gonna take the KJH 19. This is small. You can see it's a little bit fluffy here. Just gonna get a little bit of this in here. Just gonna put this kind of at the top. Just to get a little bit of that pearly effect. And then I'm gonna go back in with this and just kind of blend those a little bit together. So I just have like a little bit more brightness at the top. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right, and for brows, I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Brow Gel. This is in the shade Light. And just gonna run this through. This is one of those ones that has like a growth peptide. I don't use it regularly enough to see any growth personally, but supposedly if you use this every day, I forget what they said, the amount of time you need to use this daily for to see the growth to start. It's only like 3 weeks or 5 weeks or something like that. But again, I just haven't done it frequently enough. So I'm just using a spoolie. This is the back of my Surratt eye pencil, actually. And I actually have quite a few Chantecaille powders that I really love, but my very favorite is the Eclat Dew. This came out in the holidays, I don't remember, maybe 2019. That'd be my guess, but I mean, this is the type of packaging I love from Chantecaille. See how you got this 3-dimensional gold leaf? They've had so many beautiful compacts in the past. And one of the things I like about this one, unlike the butterflies, these like stick together. It's like, it doesn't feel sticky to the touch, but the products adhere to each other, or the packages. This doesn't, you know, this is like just a normal like lucite plastic top on top of this, but you can see that you've got this beautiful like rose gold look underneath with all of this 3-dimensional gold leaf, and I love it. So we're gonna apply this as finishing powder. So I'm gonna just not worry about the blemish. We're gonna go in with the Chikuhodo MK2, and this here, just do a soft brush. I mean, right away, look at the difference. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more. I'm just tapping it on my hand here. So if you wanted to get like a really like velvety finish, this is a fantastic powder for that. If you buff this in with like the Suniji Phase 1 or Smooth Buffer, or even just something more dense, you get this really gorgeous like velvety look, and it's not drying at all. Like it works when my skin is super dry and everything without looking dry and cakey. So I really love this, but I also love it dusted loosely with a loose brush like this. All right, and I do have something new from Chantecaille, actually. This is not new to their line, but new to me. I've never tried one of their lip liners. So I picked one of these up during their last sale, and this is in the shade Nuance. So we'll see how this goes. So it's just like a nude pink shade. Actually, it looks a lot warmer here than it does on the end, just so you can see. And I have a little residual chapstick on from before, but nothing much, so I'm just gonna leave it. All right, so you can see that this lip liner has a bit of a peachy nude look to it instead of a rosy nude. It's a nice color. It has a creamy texture to it without being so creamy or soft that it's hard to apply. I was going for more of like a softer look, so I wasn't super precise with putting it on. And let's see here. I was going to use one of my favorite, this is a lip cheek actually. This is the Rose de Mai shade. And I think actually let's go with something a little bit more neutral. So I think I'm actually gonna go with my favorite from this year's fall collection. This is the shade Plumeria, which is actually rosy. It's not really truly a like nude shade. I was gonna go with like Honeysuckle or Honey Pot, which are two of my favorites, but yeah, let's go with this one. So this is a lip veil, which has a thinner formula than the lip cheeks. It's very comfortable. It has some hydrating qualities to it. And, you know, I really love the formula. So this is it. So this is my final look from a distance. And I have to say, I still really love these two eyeshadow quads, the warm and cool hummingbird quads. I love the colors. I love how you've got different finishes in there. I think the duochromes that they used in here were a little bit, you know, I like these better than the butterfly quad that came out. So this is the duochrome in the warm quartet. And you can see that it goes like yellow to pink. I just find it to be a little bit more obvious than the one in the butterfly, but I'll compare that for you. This is in the cool. So you can see it's like purpley green. And this past spring, I think it was the spring collection, they came out with a hummingbird quad, and this one here is a duochrome in here. And sorry, my shade fell out again. I dropped it and it fell out, so it didn't come to me damaged. But yeah, I thought I had it re-adhered into the pan, but I guess not. See, the actual pan stayed and the powder has come out. So anyway, here's the duochrome for there. And you can see that on me, it really just looks pretty gold. You know, some people get this like green shift, but on me, I really don't. So I find the duochromes from the hummingbird quads to be more effective, and I just like them better. All right, so unfortunately, I just had to take a second to clean up that eyeshadow. It kind of shattered. Very creamy texture, but I guess when it hit my arm, it split in half. It separated in two different directions, and it just kind of shattered all over. So that one is now missing from my butterfly quartet. But as I was saying, I really love the hummingbird quartets. I don't really care for how the packaging sticks together because, as you just saw, you know, you pick one up and then a few seconds later, you know, something that comes with it, you know, it falls. So, and that's true of things that are not in the Chantecaille packaging. They don't just stick to each other. These compacts stick to other items as well. So just something to note there. But these eyeshadows are some of my very favorites. So there's some of my favorites from Chantecaille, some of my favorites in general. I love the shades. The slate shade, the duochrome, all of the shades I used on my eyes today are definitely some of my favorites. I would love to see these in larger permanent pans from Chantecaille personally. Today we also used the Cushion foundation from Chantecaille, and as I mentioned, I think this is a really great foundation. It has a really nice finish. It looks beautiful on the skin. It performs well, but I personally wouldn't recommend purchasing it because you don't get very much product. So it doesn't last very long and there aren't refills. So I just personally find it to be, you know, not worth the cost personally. So it says there's a net weight of 12 grams or 0.42 ounces, but I can tell you that I used up my first cushion pretty quickly. Obviously, being on YouTube, I'm using a ton of different foundations and things all the time. So for me to actually run out of that pretty quickly, it surprised me. It's not something I use frequently. So, and then just so you know, if you're trying to get more longevity out of your cushions, flip them. So I flipped mine back and forth several times before I decided it was truly done. So just something to note there. Definitely, you know, if you're not getting much product on yours, you know, open it up and just flip it. So you can just pull this thing off like I did in the beginning and just flip the cushion over. And I've also heard of some people adding some of the Future Skin Gel Foundation to this to kind of, you know, add a little bit more product to their cushion and mix it in with this. I personally haven't done that. They are not the same formula. So I haven't tried that. But you can see how easy it is to switch cushions. Hopefully, you know, if enough feedback is provided to them, they will start selling refills separately. And the Real Skin Plus Stick, I really like this. I think it works really well, especially if you're trying to do like a no makeup kind of day where you just want a little touch up on your face, spread it out. This works beautifully for that. I also like it for a little bit more coverage under the eyes, and for blemishes and things like that as well. Although I didn't do a good job on this one today, but you could see that it actually covered really well until I added the cushion foundation on top, and then I kind of messed that up. And sometimes once you mess that up, it's not worth trying to go back and fix that. So moving on, other items that I used today, the Luster Glide Silk Eyeliners. I really love them. I have all of the shades. My two favorites are the Violet Damask, which, you can see they don't really move. And then the Olive Brocade. So Olive Brocade is my number one. Violet Damask that I used today is number two. I also used the mascara, and the mascara has one of the lash growth peptides in there. So you really want to make sure that you wiggle it along your lash line and kind of come in contact with your skin to actually promote the growth there. If it's just on your lashes, it's not really going to do too much. But again, you have to use it on a regular daily basis in order to get those results. And I know people who've said, they have seen great results, and some people will even use this as a mascara base instead. So I think it's a nice mascara. I don't typically go for like a lot of mascara on at one time, so I don't use this as a base. I will use it on its own, and I think it gives a nice look. It's just a little bit more of a wetter formula than I prefer on a regular basis, so it's not my favorite, but I do like it. As for the brow gel, I like the brow gel. It doesn't have a lot of colors, so I think there's like light, medium, and deep. So I have the light one, and you may or may not be able to find a shade that works for you, but I do think it is a nice brow gel. So I like this, and I would repurchase this again. And then the blushes, you can see how subtle you can make them. It looks very scary when you first apply it. A lot of times I'll just dab a few dabs with my finger and then just kind of blend it out. And that will give me a little bit more pigmented color. But going in with this brush today, I used this one again, the KJH03. That really, gave like a nice lighter wash of color with it. And I liked using the Happy shade on the top to just give a little bit of a pearlescent look without a true highlight there, because I didn't want anything like very highlighty. It just lightened it up just a touch. And then obviously I used the Eclat Dew powder on top, which it's just my favorite. So I think you can't really go wrong with this powder. It just gives you a very polished look. And I think you can use this for setting or finishing, but I typically use this for finishing powder because it has that beautiful velvet finish to it. And I just kind of don't want to cover that up. So I really, really love this powder. And I'm hoping they will bring this back because it is limited edition. You can still find it in places right now, but I'm hoping that they decide to bring it back and make it a permanent item like they did with their Perfect Blur powder this past season. So I think, that's not quite everything. The lip liner. I'll have to play with this more to see how I like it, but so far so good. I think it's a nice lip liner. And then the lip veil in Plumeria. It's one of my favorites. I really like this particular shade, and I love the lip veil formula. So I think this is a great choice. Now, the packaging on this is limited edition, but the shade Plumeria is permanent. So once they're kind of gone in this packaging, it'll show back up in the normal blue packaging with the elephant on it. At least that's what I was told. So I'm hoping that still is true. And that is everything for today. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look back at some of my favorite items from Chantecaille and kind of some updates on these items. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you very soon. And if you celebrate Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day.